Hello everyone, welcome to the 28th episode of Rambling Weekly. This episode we're going to talk about caveat emptor and all the fun that means and what exactly that means. So yeah, let's do this. So that little clip there is, like all these songs for this episode, are going to come from the Falcom Field Zanmai album, CD, what have you. It was a really cool thing that they did a decade ago. Oh boy. They released 3 separate albums. One was the Falcom Field Zanmai, one was the Boss Zanmai, and I think they made 4. The Boss and Field and Is Zanmai. I think they did one for Legend of Heroes, like the Eiyu Densetsu. If not, then I'm a fool for even bringing it up. But there's at least 3. I think it might be 3. Let me take a click and see here. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, there is a Sora no Kiseki Zanmai. Yes, there's 4. Okay, I think the one of them might have came a little bit later. They're like remixes of different songs throughout for the field one. It's different like field themes from all the different Falcom properties, and not all of them I should say, but at least some of them. They really dip into Zero no Kiseki twice, because the outro song they're going to be playing is kind of a gift that they threw on there, and I'm all for it. And it's not really a field theme, but it kind of is. It sort of cheats in a way. But yeah, anywho, this song in particular is from Shiroki Majo, which is White Witch, which is the part of the Gagav trilogy before Legend of Heroes took off the way it did. The song is called Mountain Path. It's an enjoyable start. Like, that game is really good. I can't really speak highly of the PSP releases because they are a bit they stutter a bit. They're a bit slow. The concept's there and everything, but it has taken a bit of time to get into it. I like them. I like all 3 of them. You have White Witch, Tear of Vermilion, and then Cage Song of the Ocean are the three games, and they're all really good. I wouldn't say that you should try to like play them back to back or anything, but you can see the evolution that they take and then how they springboard that into the Trails in the Sky FC and onwards from there. It's cool to see that sort of evolution, and the concept, honestly, White Witch feels very similar to FC in a lot of ways. And now that I think about it, it also probably was heavily influential in laying the groundwork for the starting of the story I'm working on right now, Sage's Calling. And I'm working on that and trying to get through it and stuff. Yay. But yeah, it's a good game, good music. In one of the other albums, I know I'll pick it for a song at some point. It's like Queen Isabella theme. Superb song. Such a good song. Oh my gracious. So good. Anyway, yeah, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well in the middle of the year. Woo. Yeah, I'm actually recording this a week before my birthday. I think this will come out before then, but it won't be a week. It'll be closer. Exciting times. Getting older, yay. Other than that, I've been working, getting things situated, making sure my house is not a complete pigsty, only a partial pigsty. I'm also set to have some more work responsibilities, so yay. And getting promotion and pay, that's always nice, yay. So that'll be fun. Like I said, unlike before where I was content and in a malaise, I'm content, but I'm like spinning 5 different plates. So I'm just hoping I don't crash any of them. But it's a little bit more of a busy So I've become a busybody. That is my mid-game form, busybody. But so that I've been really sinking time into playing a game that I want to do a review for called Jupiter Hell, and I was having the hardest time with it because I've beaten it once because it's a roguelite, whatever. It is the rogue-esque game kind of thing, and I got lucky and beat it once, and ever since I have done trash. I've been horrible at the game, and then after about 3 or 4 days of playing, anywhere from 3 minutes to 45 minutes of runs and having them puff up in smoke and completely just trounce me, things are starting to click for me, and I'm like, oh, okay, and they're making a bit more sense. You can't just be a maniac and go all Doom guy, because it's basically like Doom meets roguelike on the moons of Jupiter, which is cool with me. Yeah, you can't just be a maniac and just bowl through everything. They will kill you, and they will kill you easily. They will kill you quick, and then you will be sad. Much like I was last time I just played it, because I was on the second to last level, and I opened a door, and then I died. Great times. Anyway, yeah, so I've been sinking some time into that. I gotta bounce back into Hajimari no Kiseki. I still have to beat that, which is kind of weird that I've set it down, but in the same hand, I think I set it down because I was getting to that point where I'm like, I'm super invested and I need to play all of my time and waking hours on this game. It's like, I can't do that. No, hold back the beast. So that's really been about it, I think, sort of. I don't think I've really played much of anything else. Nope, looking around. Nothing. New Kirby game announced. Looks like Fall Guys. Excited for that. So that I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, who wouldn't want to play as Kirby and roll around and eat strawberry shortcake and all those fun things? But before I get into kind of leading into the topic and stuff, I do want to say thank you to Piggy Gardner for your comments and stuff. For whatever reason, the second comment either won't show up or something, so I can't comment on it. I don't know why, so I'm going to comment on it here, and I'll read it out. It says, this podcast was super enjoyable and got my brain rolling like a... Well, I'm gonna... MFer, we'll say. I will respect the wishes of trying to not be too vulgar. Thinking about all this, about all type of stuff, it was very therapeutic in a strange way. My favorite thing about this podcast is your thought process, because it seems very similar to mine in a roundabout way. At the end of the day, it comes down to me. It's a good way to look at it, brother. P.S. Final song of the podcast, banger. Well, thank you. I had to bring up my notes. That's right. It was, maybe it was Faded. Yes, it is a banger of a tune. Even like the SC and Trails in the Sky the third. If you do like that, but you can shift it to the third as well. A lot of the boss themes, they slay. I always, partially just because I love the title, but Masquerade of Lies is such a good song, and any iteration that they've done so far of it has not done it any sort of misjustice. It is great. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for the comments and stuff there, and I appreciate it. I don't know if I know we pass messages back and forth, and I can definitely see thought processes being similar, but in a roundabout way. I just seem to take a lot more steps getting somewhere. Yeah, thank you. And also thank you to B Clark and Sushi B. I know you've both reached out and sent me messages about how you were listening to the previous episode, the outside approval one, and it got your brain a moving and whatnot. So thank you. I appreciate the comments and feedback. So that's what it's there for, right? It's like kind of my own way of parsing out ideas that in my head. You have that box and it's like, oh, I got an idea for it, but it isn't until you open your mouth and you're like, wow, that sounds really dumb. It's just like, okay, all right, I think I have a better idea of not doing that, because that's just not, at least that's how it works for me. Sometimes writing is a good way to do it as well, but that also takes forever. So sometimes you just gotta open your mouth and insert foot. Anyway, the topic, caveat emptor. Yeah, we'll get into that a bit more after the break. Welcome back. So that song there is Ichijin no Kaze, which means a gust of wind, and it is from Celceta, which I didn't ever realize that the English translation is like the title's Memories of Celceta, when the subtitle for it in Japanese is like what is it? Seruseta no Jukai, which is like tree of, or sea of trees there. I think they call it like a foliage ocean of Celceta or something is what they actually put it as. Kinda not the same. Not really. I don't like it. Memories of Celceta. No. Take it back. No me gusta. The end. Okay. But anywho, I really like that rocking tune. The Celceta soundtrack in general is a nice interpretation of what was East 4's soundtrack. And then some new songs, because you kind of need some things. You really plagiarized Yngwie Malmsteen with the Far Beyond the Sun, where as it's called in the East game, the ordeal becomes great. Tisk tisk. Not like that's ever happened before or ever since. All right, I need something up here because I am too dumb to know any sort of Latin, let alone a Latin phrase. And so the topic of today is caveat emptor. What does that mean? Well, it is short for caveat emptor quia ignorare non debut quod jus alienum emet. Yeah, I know, I've totally butchered that, but sorry. Anyways, basically, to parse that all out, it means let a purchaser beware, for he ought not to be ignorant of the nature of the property which he is buying from another party. Or, if you want to make it super simple, let the buyer beware. It's a contract law principle, and I'm just going to say this right out the gate. Vroom. Galloping away. I am much more in line with this sort of concept, and I get that there are times that you have to be like really, it can't just simply fall to the buyer, because, you know, if the seller is putting up a false bill of goods and obfuscating and leaving out information and lying about things, it's really hard to parse through all that. But I guess in just a simple principle, this is how I like to go about when I buy things myself. Even if it's a pencil at a little checkout store, it is on me to make sure that the price is what it is, the sale is what it is, all that fun jazz. And it feels like that's not what a lot of people do. A lot of people just simply leave it up to the store, or they get super upset if the store has something. I mean, not even something. I say this because maybe it is the young thief trickster mind in head that of my memories as a child. But I work in retail. Surprise, not surprise. But I have had instances of people being upset that something that they pulled off the shelf is not ringing up at the price that they want. Now, not to be mean and insinuate that people are just putting stuff there to be like, hey, you're just trying to do this. More my reasoning is that somebody could simply have picked up said thing, I don't really want it, set it back down, and they just misplaced it. However, these people will be not all the time. There are people who are understanding, but there are some of those who are not, who are just like, this is false advertisement, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. And I don't quite understand that. That's a big leap to make. I get not really. Like, I get it. I understand. You see something, you're like, sweet, this is on sale, this is a deal. And then you get to the register, and then it's not ringing up that. And then you get upset because you're like, well, I saw this here. And it's like, well, it doesn't go there. Somebody could have misplaced it. I still want that. This is where this caveat emptor thing comes in. I get the print is a little small, and eyes and sight a little fuzzy at times. But like, if you're going in to buy stuff, me personally, I think you should be since it is your money you are spending, you are a responsible party in making sure that this is what it is and this is what it's selling for. Now, there's a good sized amount of people who are like, hey, how much is this? And then they'll be like, eh. But then you'll get those other people who are on the other side who are just like, ah, no, this is ridiculous, and then get out of hand. Now, I get it. Money don't spend like it used to. Inflation has ratcheted things up. Gas is a little pricey. We seem to be enjoying the Carter years in the 21st century. But yeah, so I get when something doesn't match up. But in the same hand, and I'll say this for myself, if there's something there, say you see it listed as $10, but it rings up as $15, but that is the legit thing for it, yeah, you respect that price, but you gotta do the due diligence of, okay, I need to double check this and all this sort of fun stuff. Unfortunately, some people will just get super upset about it and then be like, no. The other case that it always comes to mind on me are the people who will buy things, and then after they buy them, they'll see that maybe something didn't ring up, for maybe the sale didn't register through properly or something, and instead of before buying it, they are like, no, let's fix this now. It's like, why don't we stop this before it gets around the bend? Those are the ones that really boggle my mind, that they'll buy something, but then they don't pay attention to it until after they've gone through it. I mean, I get it, if there's a line or it's taking a while because they're buying a bunch of stuff, but in the same hand, you're creating extra steps and taking up more time at that point, instead of going, oh, what's that phrase? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That sort of thing. That's where I go. And I don't know. This is my, I guess, a ranty episode. Because it's most people, they'll either just be fine with the price or have an understanding that there is a balancing act with it, partially just because of the amount of people. If you don't have a ton of people working in a place, it's really hard to get product on the shelf, change the prices of everything, keep it all looking nice and neat, and all that fun stuff. A lot of people do understand that. A lot of people are appreciative of that. But then you get people who don't ever seem to care about that. They're in the camp of, well, it's your job. Well, this is what you're supposed to do. It's your job. Get it done. And while in certain aspects, I'm all for get your job done. There's a thing called reality and a thing called resources. And when those resources can't match what reality demands, reality needs to change. That's really what it comes down to. But some people are just like, and unfortunately, a lot of those same people are the same ones who get upset when a price rings up wrong on something, or what they perceive to be as wrong rings up differently. We'll say rings up differently from what's listed and stuff. I guess it boggles my mind that people are okay with having less responsibility upon themselves to do that sort of thing. And I wonder if that isn't a cause and effect of things in society where, I could have swore I've made this analogy before in a Rambling Weekly. I know I've said it before, just as a person. I just don't know if I have it in recording. But I think there has been a willingness to let go of a lot of responsibility and choices and wanting to make selections on things, partially because we are given the opportunity to make so many choices, even for the most mundane things. I always bring up a cereal aisle. Look at a cereal aisle. Why is there that many cereals? Why are there that many choices? Look at chips. Why are there that many chips? I think that there's a damaging effect going on there that we either aren't processing particularly well, we aren't really cognizant of it, or maybe there are psychological papers about this sort of thing. I don't know. I'm not a big psych person. I really don't like the study of psychology, because I feel like a lot of people who study that sort of thing then decide to use that hammer on everything. Oh, well, they exhibit these sorts of things, so that must mean this. And it's people are complicated creatures. We not only have the amalgamation of all the influences around us pushing and pulling and tearing us into what they try to want us to be, but we also have that internal push and drive to be whatever we want to be, and then that makes a weird bubble and brew. I mean, you can kind of maybe get guardrails to narrow things down, but I really don't like that concept of trying to be able to pinpoint exactly, this. It's, I think, too wishy-washy. People are too wishy-washy. Somebody could be a good person and then be able to stave off greed, but then all of a sudden, if they need it for something that's coming like to knock out a troubling thing in their life, that could be attributed to, they're just a greedy person. And it's like, that's not one decision does not a person make. So, and I say that, like, thinking back on this, let the buyer beware idea, is that this is your money. This is what you work to, like, be able to have to spend on other resources, and instead of trying to just barter everything or have everything break down that way. Should you not be a little bit more on the up and up of what you're doing with it, instead of just being so blasé to be like, whatever, money. There's certainly times where I've bought things. I mean, online makes it really, really easy to be like, I'll buy that. I've bought 2 Anthem CDs, Tightrope and Bound to Break. And Tightrope came in, cool. Bound to Break is being shipped from elsewhere, so it's going to be a moment before it gets here. Still cool, I'm waiting for it. But, I just bought them, and it's because it's through online, I don't really get an opportunity or a chance to be like, let me really inspect this sort of thing, to make sure that it works, B, it isn't, just a complete muddled mess, and all that sort of fun stuff. And that's a little harder to do online, other than trying to figure out if the buyer is a legit buyer, but then, you get bogged down by all this information. However, it certainly would save a lot of headaches on your end if, instead of, just buying that. For example, I bought one of those stupid tree bookshelf things that's like, they're at an angle, whatever. It's not a traditional bookshelf because I'm a dork, and and what goes wrong? Well, the screws on one end where you, like, the holes for it where you would screw it in, weren't drilled through. So I've got a half put together bookshelf that is sitting on my floor in the living room, begging me to get something done with it, but instead I just look at it angrily because I'm too obstinate to be like, hey, ya goofs, what's up with this? And I'm too, I don't want to say lazy, I'm too fearful that I'm going to, like, screw it up. But in the same hand, I got to do something with it at some point. Otherwise, it's just going to turn into, like, glorified firewood. I just need to drill some holes in it myself. How hard is that? It's not hard at all. Oh, spoiler alert, I don't have a drill, so I need to get a proper drill for it. And I guess I'm just being a cheapskate at this point. So, you see my problems in life. They're just silly. But yeah. Problem is that I should probably have just gone to a store and bought bookshelves for myself, seeing I have 8 totes of books, let alone, another 6 or 7 for dorky game stuff. That's on me. That is my responsibility. A, because they are my things. B, it is my money. C, it is my time. I guess that's where I go with that. That's I don't know. I just wanted to rant about that, and I don't even think I'm really doing that much of a rant as much as, like, I could be really, really heated and really angry and be like, bleh, but in the same hand, that's not fair. I get people are, I think that's part of the problem, is that there's too much choice. Too much choice leads to paralysis by overanalysis sort of thing. And that's not to say that having fewer choices would remedy that, because people could have just a couple choices on certain things, but then they're overanalyzing a situation. But when it comes to something like cereal, when it comes to something like chips, when it comes to something like milk, ice cream. By the way, where is the spumoni ice cream? There is no spumoni ice cream where I live, and there wasn't much of any, like, in the last place I lived either. In a big town, in a big city, couldn't find much of it anywhere. Where's the spumoni ice cream? Where is that at? I have not had it for months, and I am sad, and it is making me very frustrated that I can't find it anywhere. Why? It is not that hard. It is Neapolitan, but better. Why? Anyways, there's, like, all these choices, and I think that overworks the brain. to shift gears, I think, a little too abruptly. But all those small little choices it's exercise for the brain, sure, in certain ways, but in the same hand, it is exhausting a resource. You only have so much of it, right? It is not infinite. You're not able to just be able to go, all right, let me just keep going with the brain power and just, I don't know. I'm like, I have my arms out and I want to do the boo 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 thing, but it doesn't. It's not really a coherent. What am I doing? But basically, please. I know people do their due diligence when it comes to things that they really want to buy a lot of times, but I think that should be a habit that's extended to even minor purchases and stuff. I think that would help ease some things in some regards, but then I think part of the problem is because of the choices, it exhausts that sort of energy to want to do that. They just want to be like, okay, I'm going into a store, it's their responsibility to have everything how I see it. That's fair. In that case, they should just take out the price labels in general and just be like, hey, you'll know it when you ring it up. But then you'd get all sorts of people like, hey, how much is this? 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 So I don't really have a good solution outside of, hey, just be a bit more responsible with your purchasing habits. Don't bemoan the fact that you can't find spumoni ice cream and you have a half dilapidated tree bookshelf sitting in your living room while you're ranting into the mic. That's all I really got. I just want to get that off my chest. I thought I would be a lot more heated about this, but evidently I'm craving some ice cream. So we'll be back. That there is Field from Dragon Slayer, or Eiudensetsu 1. Yeah, so Dragon Slayer, The Legend of Heroes. Good, smooth. Honestly, I get vibes of Trails of Zero, or, Zero no Kiseki. Maybe it's the instrumentation. I'm not entirely certain, but it is nice. I like it. I like it a lot. So, for the quote today, I am going to pull from a speech from 1899. Very quick, very cool, very small clip from a speech that Theodore Roosevelt had talked about certain things. And in it, there's this line that it says, "I wish to preach not the doctrine of ignoble ease, but the doctrine of the strenuous life." And it's kind of got it's got strong flavoring of stoicism and philosophy. And I know people who read up on a lot of philosophy and philosophical writings and stuff. Nietzsche, in particular, was always like, "Man, those Stoics are a bunch of losers." He wasn't too happy with a lot of the stoicism there. For me, there's something that does make me wonder, because there are a lot of people who want to say, oh, the hard life is the way to, in that crucible it'll make better people, and they'll be hardened and readied and steeled and good to go. I don't think that's quite the thing that you can do now. Maybe it might have been something back in the day. Maybe I don't think hardship automatically equates to being a more noble route than something that's easy or an easier life, because people can have easier life. Those things, they don't automatically equate to, oh yeah, like somebody could have a hard life and then from that have exert themselves harshly. There's that one African proverb that he who is not accepted by his village will burn it down. Like that sort of, I know I'm paraphrasing that, but that sort of concept. It's a very simplistic mindset, and that's one that I actually, for a very long time, was in the same mindset of like, oh yes, well, hardship's what I live for. Give me the tough stuff, and like that works for me. But obviously that's not going to work for somebody who's like they've already had their hits and they're done with the hits. No more haymakers. We're good. let's have some nice easiness. Let's not have. And while I get that the softness can make issue where there's, how do I want to put this, a lack of will or drive to do things, I don't think that is caused by like an ease of life. That comes down to an individual person, and not either from witnessing the world around them or whatever values and virtues that were instilled in them from wherever, from whomever. Drive, to an extent, it may be impressionable to some degree, but that's an inner thing. For a while, I was working with a lot of younger, like in their early 20s or so, who were going to school, and not to be like a jerk or anything, I'd say, hey, you are the same age I was when I was going over and teaching in Japan. And I can pull and think of very many different examples of people from the 70s, 60s, historical examples, what have you, who much younger than me were like going about doing things, and there's just a lack of drive, it felt like. And I wasn't trying to be some sort of obnoxious punk about, hey, here I am doing this thing, what are you doing with your life? It's more of like, okay, tell me what you got going on. Are you yourself content with that? Are you happy with that? If not, then you need to make that change. You need to step out of your box, look at yourself, and then kind of be like, okay, and then keep going. And that's a hard thing to do, and I get that. But an easy life, quote unquote easy life, because me myself, I'm of the camp that if you take two different two different lives. Well, I learned talk, but if you take two people and one has a more quote-unquote easy life and the other one has a more strenuous or more hardships, those emotions, those feelings aren't going to really be different. Like anger is anger, or slights, jealousy, all those things are things that we share, as robotic as some of us may seem. And for me, somebody who may be affluent, may be rich, who is jealous of something else, doesn't matter what it's for, just they have some sort of jealousy. That same sort of green-eyed monster is going to show up for somebody who's had the hardships, and I don't think there's a difference in that. Maybe I am being too simplistic in this. Maybe I am too much of a simpleton. This is why I don't like psychology, because I'm too dumb. But I don't think there's that much of a difference. Though jealousy is jealousy, anger is anger. Sure, it can be tinged by other things, like anger can be tinged with some sort of vengeance or some sort of wrath, something in that regard, or anger can be tinged by jealousy and that sort of thing. But don't think it really, the concept really changes. It's more of how like anger is anger, but like maybe like how you express it, or it's still, my angry might be different from your angry kind of thing, but it is still angry. I know that really sounds like I'm talking out of both corners of the mouth, but it makes sense to me. I've somehow convinced myself I really know what I'm talking about, when no, I really don't. Anyway, the Roosevelt quote, I guess I bring it up because to me this is an idea and a concept that I for a very long time was like, yeah, totally. People who go through hardships, they come out the end better than those who just kind of skate on by. And that's not really true at all, because there are people who will have what is seemingly to us as a very soft and nestled, close to the bosom, the loving bosom of nature, and just the luck of the draw of having wonderful family, parents, neighborhood, etc. And they can be incredibly wonderful people, uplifting people. And somebody who go through hardships could be a complete jerk to other people because they've embittered all of those tough pills from life, throwing haymakers at them to be like, okay, all right, I'm swinging back. And I guess it's not where I stand. I do not think it is an ignoble thing, nor does one make the other one worse. One makes one worse, or the other one makes one inherently better simply because of those sort of situations. Because if that was the case, then it'd be pretty easy to spot out the good and bad guys. Yeah. I don't know. That's all I got. My brain is officially tapping out now. The end. But before that, the outro here is the cheating song. It can be used as a field theme if I remember the game correctly, because this comes from Zero no Kiseki. It is Get Over the Barrier, and it is a fantastic song that I remember more so for being a part of like a boss fight / like scene sort of thing, but it could be something that plays in a field, so they sort of get it. They're able to do it. It has been like 12 years or 10 plus years, 10, somewhere between 10 to 12 years since I've played this game proper, which means that I have to, because I still got to do a review for the channel at some point. But this song is Get Over the Barrier. Fantastic song. Love it to pieces. It is a pretty, people who've played the games and stuff, it's like, okay, this is a pretty sweet song. Not only is it a pretty sweet song, this version is an orchestral version, which, by golly gee, do I love me some orchestra. And it'd be cool to have like a whole Trails game with orchestra music to see how that would play out and how that would hit a little bit differently. Anyways, that's it. Enjoy the tune, and I'll see you next time. Later.